everyone, it's Kara and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my top tips for engagement and wedding planning and what you should be thinking about as you're going through that process. Before we get started, please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you like lifestyle videos about marriage, health, faith, and so much more. So as a bit of background information, my husband and I are Christians and we got married 7 months ago. I was 19 years old and we only planned our wedding in 4 months. From the moment we got engaged until the moment we got married, it was only 4 months long. The whole while my husband was working about 50 to 60 hours a week and I was a full-time student and a full-time athlete in college. So it was a very busy time of life, but we made it work and it was great. And I'm going to share with you guys some of the things that I learned through that process so that if you are engaged, if you know someone who is engaged, if you want to be engaged, if you want to plan weddings, if any of that stuff is something that you're looking into, then make sure that you watch this video. This is something that could help you. My first tip is that you only need 4 months to plan a wedding. I remember when my husband and I were meeting with our mentors even before we got engaged and we were discerning whether marriage was the right decision for us in this season of life. They told us that you only need 4 months to plan a wedding. And if you choose to have an engagement that's longer than that, you're going to actually wish you had only chose to have an engagement that was 4 months long, because you'll be done with wedding planning in 4 months and you'll wish that you could just get married now. And at first I was pretty apprehensive of that because I hadn't really heard of many engagements that were that short, but we decided to go for it and honestly it was such a blessing. Wedding planning can be super stressful. Honestly, try to limit the amount of time that you're wedding planning in general and it will all work out in 4 months. If you're feeling like that your schedule is too busy to be able to actually pull that off, I just want to say that my husband and I, as I mentioned before, we're also in extremely busy seasons of life. And yes, we had friends and family that helped us, but honestly, most of our friends had no idea how to plan a wedding because we were the first out of our friend groups to actually get married. And so we did it mostly on our own and we were able to easily pull it off in 4 months. So if that could be any encouragement to you, you can do it. You can do it in 4 months and it's not that hard to pull it off in that amount of time. You'll be thankful that you did when you look back. My second tip for the engagement process is to take time to do things with your fiance that doesn't include wedding planning at all. It's really easy when you're engaged to get so focused on wedding planning that the only thing you guys do together is plan the wedding. And that's great. You need to have time to plan the wedding and you don't want to put that off. But it can become destructive to your relationship if that's the only thing you do, and it can make your time together feel more like a chore or a job than actually being excited about the fact that you guys are going to spend the rest of your lives together. I would encourage you to plan out a couple days through the moment that you got engaged until the moment that you get married, and just plan a few days where you guys are going to go on some dates or spend some time together where it doesn't include wedding planning. For us, we specifically chose a couple dates where we were going to go out to dinner or do something that didn't include wedding planning, and we also chose an entire day where we were just going to go to the beach, hang out, and spend an entire day together. And it was so refreshing to have those little bits of time in our engagement process where we could just enjoy being engaged, because that's only going to happen once. And it was a great time to anticipate our wedding and our marriage and to enjoy our time together and to really connect. My third tip applies a bit more to the actual wedding planning process, and that is to choose the few things that are important to you and to try to let go of the rest. If you care immensely about every single detail in the wedding planning process and the wedding day are going to be extremely stressful. They're not going to be fun, and it's going to be very difficult to get things exactly how you want them. You will probably end up disappointed. So I would say pick a few things that are important to you. For me, it was pictures. I wanted to make sure that we had good engagement photos and that we had our photographer and videographer lined up for our wedding. And then it was also my wedding dress. I wanted to wear something I felt confident in and felt cute in. Those were some of the things that were high up on my priority list, but I really tried to let go of the rest. I'm glad I did let go of the rest because there were definitely hiccups along the way. For example, I didn't care that much about our wedding cake, and it was actually really good because the day of my wedding, when my parents went to pick up our wedding cakes, they had completely forgotten to make them. And so they ended up giving us some free Fred Meyer sheet cakes, but they were really ugly. They were just like white and brown. They didn't have any words on them. There was no congratulations. There were no flowers, no decorations. And I tried a slice of that cake and it did not taste very good. I'm really glad that that wasn't something I was super stressed about, because in the moment I just kind of laughed it off and decided, well, there's nothing I can do about it. It's the day of my wedding. I'm not gonna let it ruin my entire day. And now we can look back and laugh about it. Another thing I chose to do was I just asked my bridesmaids if they would be in charge of decorating our entire venue. The place that we got married wasn't an actual wedding venue, it was a friend's barn. And so all of the wedding decorations needed to be set up by us. And I just told them, have at it, just do whatever you want. I kind of told them the theme that I was going for, and they did amazing. They went on a shopping spree to Hobby Lobby, and honestly, the bridesmaids who didn't know each other really bonded through being able to just decorate our venue for us. It was really a great time for everybody, and it relieved so much stress on my end because that was something that I just put in the hands of other people that I trusted and knew that it would look great no matter what. My fourth tip is to keep a spreadsheet of all the people that you have invited with their addresses, if they bought you a gift, and if you sent out a thank you card. It's gonna be so much easier to keep all of those things organized and to make sure that you sent out an invitation for everybody, to make sure that you still have their address when you want to send them a thank you card, to see what they bought you. It's a great way to keep everything organized. Usually just a Google Sheet will work great for this. It doesn't have to be fancy, but when you make that spreadsheet, it will make you feel so much better about knowing that you got all of the boxes checked, that there wasn't anybody left out, and that you got everyone a thank you card. My fifth tip is that if you have a short engagement like we did, make sure that dress shopping and suit shopping is an extremely high priority. Like, make this one of the absolute first things that you do. The reason why this is so important is because dress alterations and suit alterations can take a really, really long time. I thought that you just went, you picked up your dress, you got your measurements, they altered it for you, and then after that you were good to go. I figured the process would take maybe a month. But the truth is, when you get your dress, in my case, altered, then you go back and usually there's even more alterations that need to happen. So it can be a months-long process. Make sure that that's something that you're on top of so that that process goes as smoothly as possible and that you aren't stressed about whether you'll have something to wear on your wedding day. My last tip is to have premarital counseling with someone that you trust, and to make sure that you make time for meaningful conversations with your future spouse. If wedding planning is getting in the way of your relationship, where you are only bickering about what to put on the registry and you can't make decisions or agree on things about how the wedding should go, and that is causing a rift in your relationship, it's not worth it. Something will have to change in that situation. You would rather have a really ugly, boring wedding and a great marriage than the most extravagant wedding in the world and a really difficult marriage. Overall, the wedding day is just the day that kicks off the rest of your life with this person. And so it's only one day in a matter of many, many, many days with that person. So you want to make sure that you're preparing more for your marriage than just for the wedding. Honestly, a great way to do this is through premarital counseling with a pastor or someone that you trust. This is a great way to have meaningful conversations and also to address areas that maybe you guys forgot to talk about. This will bring a third party in who can make sure that you guys are asking each other great questions and having good conversations to set up your marriage for success. I hope you guys enjoyed these tips. If you guys have a wedding day coming up, whether it's for you or for a friend, make sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know what big day you're anticipating, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Bye, guys.